So this is a thing I'm gonna try. Tier ranking yarns I've used. Lots of yarn. There's there's kind of a lot of yarn. So we'll see how this goes. Right, categories are I will die on this hill. This is yarn that I really love, that I would probably knit my whole wardrobe out of if I could, if that would be a practical thing to do. It's, the really special stuff to me. Solid yes, self-explanatory. Yarn I really like. Meh, it's not bad. It's not spectacular. It's just, there. Why is this popular? In particular for things that are popular and I can't figure out why. But also for yarns that aren't like the worst yarn I've ever used, but I don't love either. And then never again, stuff that I really don't like, which I don't think there's that many because I, feel stuff before I buy it, or I, have done research and have an idea of what I'm getting myself into. So, caveat. This is because I bought these yarns. I thought I was going to like them to begin with, so it's kind of a skewed sample. Anyway, it could be good if you're thinking about buying somebody yarn for Christmas and you don't know what you want to try something new. This could give you an idea. Right, so let's do this thing. First up, Patons Kroy. This guy. Sort of a U.S., Canadian, U.S., I don't know, I can't remember. It's a North American sock yarn that I love. I think it's a great yarn. It's a solid choice. I have a pair of socks in it that I reach for all the time. I would like more pairs of socks in it, so is it incredible? No, but it's a solid yes. Next, Cascade Ultra Pima, which is a cotton. I knit a baby garment out of it. I knit washcloths out of it. I don't know how the baby garment held up. The washcloths I knit out of it got kind of grubby kind of fast. I mean, in fairness, they're washcloths, but I don't know. I wasn't convinced. It's not bad. It's so beautiful when you first use it. And it's really nice to knit with for cotton. So I'm going to go with a solid meh. Undercover Otter Squirm. I love this yarn. I mean, aside from the fact that it's called Undercover Otter, which, come on. But it's also really, really lovely sock yarn. The socks that I have knit for my cousin out of this yarn, and he is not a gentle human being, the socks that I knit for him with this yarn are still almost like new, and that was years ago. So this is my first one for I Will Die on This Hill. Undercover Otter Squirm sock yarn. Also, come on, look at those colors. Their colors are wonderfully bonkers. Next up, Life in the Long Grass Fine Sock. I have a soft spot in my heart for Life in the Long Grass in general. As a brand, I love the way they do things. I love that they're Irish. I really love them. And for what they are, they're at a reasonable price point. It looks to me like most hand-dyed yarns are now in the $30 to $40 range, and they are still managing to be at the €23 price point, maybe a little higher for some of the special fibers, but yeah, no, I really like them. They are definitely gonna go. I Will Die on This Hill of Life in the Long Grass. The Croft West Yorkshire Spinners, which is a worsted weight Shetland that I really, really love. It is lofty and wonderful. I knit a child's garment out of it. I'm kind of desperate to knit a garment for myself out of it. Is it a Will I Die on That Hill, or is it a, I think it might be a Will I Die on This, that's a tough call. I'm sort of, I'm leaning towards I Will Die on This Hill, but it's hard to say because I haven't actually worn a garment in it. I've used it, but not worn, but it's Shetland. Shetland wool is really, I like Shetland wool quite a lot. Now, solid yes. Solid yes, don't go crazy. Regia merino yak, which is another sock yarn. It's yak, which is a fiber that I really like. And it's a fiber that leans towards the more expensive, but if you buy this in Europe, it is not expensive at all. I bought 2 balls of this, so 200 grams, and I still have like 60, 70 grams of it left. It just keeps going and going and going, and that's not a bad thing. On the flip side, the pair of socks that I have in these, they look older than they are, which is certainly in part because I am also not gentle. I throw my non-machine washable woolens into the washing machine, but most of my other socks hold up well for that. So then again, I could have knit them on slightly too loose of a gauge. Oh no. I'm going to give it a solid yes with a caveat. Next up, Rowan Valley tweed. I had a sweater out of it. I think it's beautiful yarn. It is fingering weight, but it's woolen spun, so I can wear it in the winter under a coat very happily and not feel like I need a DK weight. So I quite like it. Is it the best yarn I've ever used? No, but solid yes. Plotulopi. If you've been around for a while, you know I have a love affair with plotulopi. So the only question is it a solid yes or is it the best I've ever used? And I think the problem for me is that despite the garment that I have having been washed a lot at this point, or a fair amount at this point, the guard hairs still make my nose twitch. They shouldn't. I don't know why. It doesn't bother me like on my skin, but it makes my nose twitch when I wear it. Only when I wear it. Everything else is fine, just my nose. So that's probably a me thing. I don't know what that's all about, but it is a thing, and it prevents it from, for me at least, being into the I will die on this hill category. That is Isager Alpaca 2, which is, oops, that's silly. That's going to be on screen, isn't it? I'm going to have to deal with that. Okay. Anyway, Isager Alpaca 2. Me and alpaca, I'm not sure we're great friends. It's really warm, which is wonderful. When it's a wool blend, which this one is, it's 50-50 wool and alpaca, you get the shape-holding qualities from the wool, so you don't worry so much about the drooping. But I feel like alpaca looks older faster. That could be me, that could be the way I wash and wear things. Or it could be this yarn. I don't know. I like it. I don't hate it. It's definitely not in the bad category, but oh, is it a meh? I gotta say it's a meh from me. But it could be a solid yes for you. Malabrigo, which one is that? That's mechita, I think. I think I've used mechita, which is a single, not for socks. I'm a little biased because their sock yarn for like years didn't have any nylon in it and was very loosely spun and really should never have been made into socks. But you know, people who see sock yarn written on a thing will think it's for socks. It was a little bit silly. I don't always feel like their colorways last. I'm having good luck with the mechita-ish, but it's in a scarf that doesn't get worn that often. My experience is that it doesn't always last. And so even though I have a great respect for them as dyers, for their ideas, I'm not completely sold on this yarn. Mad Tosh. Which Mad Tosh did I use? Mad Tosh Merino Lite. The colorway is so ridiculously stunning, but it's airy in a felty sort of way. It's airy in a this can't last sort of way. And it's really not for me. Yeah, no, it's really not for me. Olann sock light, on the other hand, I love. It's really good. It's really good in socks. It's really good in garments because it's particularly drapey. It is a superwash, but I wonder if it isn't more on the easy care end of the spectrum because it doesn't have that superwashy, plasticky feel. It could just be the way that it's spun. I don't know. I really do like it though. Does it qualify? No, I won't die on that hill, but I think it's fabulous. Lana Grossa Baby Light, which is it's a tube yarn. It's a blown yarn. It's a chainette yarn. Is it blown or chainette? Now I forget. I should have looked that up. I didn't. I thought I knew. I don't. It's either a blown or a chainette yarn. I have a sweater in it. I love the sweater. And usually when you have yarns in these fibers at this lighter weight, it's pilly, it's crazy pilly. This is not. This is very much not. I don't know if they still manufacture this yarn, but if they do, solid yes. Winterburn DK Bahram U. It's a pleasant yarn. I like the yarn. It was one of those impulse buys off Webs when they were having one of their super clearance sales because it was an expensive yarn. At the price point I bought it at, which I think was $7 a skein, I'm very happy with it. I probably wouldn't be so happy with it at $17 a skein, which is I think closer to the original price. It's okay. It's not great. It's not bad. It's okay. Brooklyn Tweed Loft. I love this yarn. Like, really love this yarn. There's a fiber problem here. Is it fair that I love a woolen spun yarn that is non-superwash? So, obviously, things that are woolen spun and non-superwash are going to get higher scores from me. Although I'm looking at life in the long grass. That's superwash. Squirm is superwash. I'm not opposed to these things. I take back my caveat. Let's move on. I love Loft. It is springy. It is the bounciest. It's like knitting with elastic, which is mildly alarming, but livable. Enjoyable in a very weird sort of a way. The only question is, which of these two will it be? Will I die on this hill? I think it's just a solid yes. I don't actually know what happens to this table if there's more than one column in solid yes. We'll find out. Happy Feet 100, Plymouth Yarn Company. I have a garment made out of it that I really, really like. I have a pair of socks made out of it, and I made a pair of socks for a friend out of it, and it was terrible for socks. It did something weird. It changed shape in ways that it doesn't make sense for it to have changed. Like, they got smaller. Both of our socks got smaller. And he hand washed his. So there's really no reason that superwash wool should have gotten smaller with hand washing. I don't know what's up with that. The garment I have out of this I love, and it still looks fabulous. There's no pilling, there's no nothing. It's just lovely. So it's a yes for garments for me. It's a no for socks, even though it's called Happy Feet. So at the end of the day, I think it's a meh. Shibui Reed, which is a chainette linen. Is it linen cotton or is it just linen? You would think I would remember these things, but I totally clearly don't. It's one of the two. I don't think it's available anymore, so I probably shouldn't talk about it too much because Shibui is, I believe, now gone, which stinks. They made some really beautiful yarns. Their price point was a little higher, but it was worth the value. It was a value add. It wasn't not worth it. So, solid yes. Shibui reed. I also just like a chainette linen because the sweater I did out of this, there was a lot of stockinette. It could have and should have biased. It didn't. And I think that's down to the chainette structure. So if you're having a biasing problem with linen, if not shibui reed, head over Yarn Sub and see something similar. Now we're at gilliatt. I'll see if I can cut in the part where I got the yarn wrong. If I can't, I love this yarn. I love this yarn. De rerum natura gilliatt. If you've been around here for a while, you know where this is going. I really, really love this yarn. It is semi-woolen spun, so I think it's carded in one direction and then spun in the opposite. So it's half woolen, half worsted spun. I don't really know how that works. I know that it is beautiful and you kind of get the best of both worlds. The only thing I will say about this yarn that's a little bit unexpected is that when it needs a wash, or when it, like after what you wear it, and then suddenly it will just kind of go, oof. It like deflates a little bit. I've never seen anything like this. Other yarns could do this and I've never heard about it. It could be a thing. I don't know. All I know is that it tells me when it's time to have its bath. It just, all the cables kind of deflate just a little. It just kind of goes, oof. But then you wash it. And for me, that means just a bath with eucalyptus, however you pronounce that. Half an hour in some cold water with eucalyptus and then lay it out to dry, and the next thing you know, it's like it's new again. And I wear the snot out of the sweater I have. I mean, I wear it easily twice a week, sometimes 5 times a week. We won't talk about that. I will die on the hill of de rerum natura. And I really, really want to try the fingering weight. Ulysses, I don't know, however you pronounce that one. Holst garn coast, which is a pleasant yarn. The only time it's not pleasant is if you try to do socks with it. Things went a little awry in my sock experiment. I do not recommend. Even though the tensile strength of cotton is going to help you out a lot, for some reason when you go to a really dense gauge on this yarn, it behaves more like cotton than wool, and things are, it was a failed experiment. But other than that, again, solid yes. Oops. Mirasol llama una. Llama. Which do I like more, llama or yak? That is a challenging question to which I have no answer. But this was lovely yarn, and it's holding up well. I'm not getting a lot of pilling. It's beautiful. Will I die on this hill? The only thing that lets it down is that they're the colorways. Either you love them or you hate them. There are not very many. I would probably, I would die on that hill. Let's be honest. BC Garn Bio Shetland. Again, I like my Shetlands. I have a pair of socks out of this, which shouldn't work, but does. And I really love them. It's particularly warm, and they don't have any guard hairs. Is that what it is? There's something about the Shetland wool that is particularly good for people who don't like itchy things, which is typically, I think, the sort of outer coat scenario. I could not know what I'm talking about. I don't always, but I feel like it's something like that. So it's a wonderful, it's tightly enough spun, but it would be beautiful in a garment as well. It would make really wonderful color work. Solid yes. Kellenborn Woolens Scout. I love this yarn. I really love this yarn. It's particularly soft. It's merino, but it's not superwash. The spin on it is correct. There's something about it. I mean, this and then Juniper Moon Farm Patagonia, which we'll get to, are both beautiful non-superwash merinos. Of the two of them, this is a little less bouncy. I think it's woolen. No, I think it's worsted spun, which is surprising that I love that, but I really do. There's something about this yarn that's just gorgeous, and the colors are divine. I will die on the hill. Mondim. Mondim is beautiful. It feels yummy. I think I'm going to reserve it for garments because the socks I have in it, they have not developed holes. I do not have that problem. I know some people do. I did not. I wear mine very much, and the people I have gifted socks in this yarn to have not gotten any holes either. So that could be a density, like it could be a gauge issue. If you're not knitting non-superwash wool dense enough, it is more likely to get holes. The problem that I do have with it is that it's just a little meh when it comes to socks. I think I'd like it more for garments, I think, or held double possibly with something special, because it's okay, it's fine on my feet, but I don't get that wonderful rustic wool feeling. So it doesn't, it's nowhere. It's somewhere in the middle. It's okay. I don't hate it, but it's not great. West Yorkshire Spinners. Oops. What did I just do here? I've made a, how did that happen? Oh, I'll just cut that out in post. West Yorkshire Spinners Exquisite 4-ply, which is a wool silk blend, which you would think would be fabulous and knits up beautifully. It's a little splitty, but nothing to be, you know, but, and I'm so sorry, West Yorkshire Spinners, because I love you. I really do. I love so many of the things that you do, but this yarn hates to be washed. Washing anything in this yarn is a massive problem because the silk, for whatever reason, I mean, silk doesn't like to get wet. Silk, usually if you're washing a silk garment, you basically kiss it with water and then, you know, run. It's just, this, whatever silk they're using or however it's being used, I think it's something like that. I feel so bad about this. I really, really do. Because in so many of their other yarns, I want to try fleece. I was feeling a garment that someone was making in West Yorkshire Spinners fleece, and it was so cool and beautiful and wonderful to work with and looks like it's going to last. So I'm really, really sorry. Never again. Queensland Llama Lace. Fabulous. Really, really good. Really, really fabulous. Will I die on that hill? I would die on the hill of the combination of Queensland Lace and Barocco Ariel. The two of them separately are good. But not, they would both be solid yes for me. The two of them together would be number one on my I will die on this hill, because the fabric they make together is so divine, so soft. And Barocco Ariel as a mohair didn't shed while I was working with it, it doesn't get everywhere, no problems at all, no tingling, no twitching, no nothing, none of those little things. No unwanted adjectives. So individually, solid yes. Together, oh yeah, number one on the list. Oh, okay, oops. Well, do that, and do that. Rauma Finul. Rauma Finul. I love Finul. I'm wearing Finul. Why am I singing? I have absolutely no idea. I really love this yarn. I'm wearing this yarn right now. I wear this yarn a lot. I want more garments in it. It is irrationally expensive in this country. It is so much cheaper in Europe. This is one of those yarns without question. Order from Europe, pay the $10 shipping, which is basically the same as shipping it around the United States, and save yourself a lot of money because it's really wonderful yarn. I will die on the hill of Rauma. Cascade Refine. If you watched my episode on playing with it, it's so weird. It has a very strange feel, and it doesn't get any less strange. I still feel like it's cotton. I know it's not, but it still feels like cotton to me. And I don't know. I have 2 pairs of socks in it now. They're DK weight socks. One of it held double, both Refine. One of it held double with a different yarn. The one of it held double with a different yarn tipped it back over into feeling woolly, and so I love those socks. The one held double with both Refine. They actually grew. I made them too big, and then they grew again, and it's a little disarming and a little irritating. We'll see if they felt up, and well, the rowan felted tweed, which I forgot to put on this list. I wonder how that happened. Oops. Anyway, it would be a meh. Nah, it'd be solid yes. Nah, it'd be a meh. I don't know. Anyway, we're not talking about that. We're talking about Cascade Refine. I want to like it. There are positive qualities to it. The price point is certainly fabulous, but in the grand scheme of yarn, I don't think I'd ever buy it again. Not even for like crochet blankets. Cascade 220, much better choice, same price point. Roughly the same price point. Juniper Moon Farms Patagonia, which is a woolen spun non-superwash merino. It's bouncy, it's delightful, it's wearing well, it's popular for a reason, and the price point is spectacular. So again, solid yes. Swan's Island, all-American Rambouillet Sport. I think I would have had better luck if the colorway hadn't been disappointing. And I did double check and could not find a solid colorway. They were all supposed to be speckled, so it was just a weird sort of error, which is not necessarily their fault. These things happen, but it obviously affects the way that I feel about the yarn. Is it worth the price point? To me, no. Is it bad yarn? No, it's Rambouillet, which is it's a breed with merino and maybe Lincoln, I can't remember, but it is a sort of an American merino situation. It's pleasant yarn, but it's nothing to write home about. What are you? Jaeger Spun Heathers. It's a sport weight, non-superwash. Yeah, Jaeger and I are just not friends. You know, do you get that? Are there some yarn brands that you're just like, I don't know, nothing wrong with you, just... I love the socks in this yarn. I do reach for them a lot, so that's something, but do I love this yarn? No. Is that fair? Maybe not, but that's how it goes. Meh. Noro Silk Garden Lite, the sport weight version. I was really surprised by how much I liked this yarn. I thought it was going to be, you know, why is this so popular? I used to think, why is this so popular? Having now used it, I know why this is so popular. It's beautiful, it's drapey, it's very pleasant to knit with, it's very forgiving yarn. I quite like it. Solid yes. Fiber Company, Canopy Fingering. It's got the bamboo in it. No, it's alpaca. I really should have double checked some of these because you think you remember what they are and then you forget. No, it is because the sheen, it has to be bamboo. There has to be bamboo in there. Like, I think it's wool, alpaca, bamboo, something like that. I don't know. It's a very pretty yarn. It's a very friendly yarn. It's wonderful. It's good. It's not the best yarn I've ever used, but it's close. Like, it's close. It's close, but it's not there. Woolfolk Tinned, however, is softest yarn I've ever used. I can't explain it. I can't figure out why it is the way it is, but it is. And oh wow, just wow. It is expensive. It's arguably worth it. Wool Centrum Tunt Garn, which is the Gotland. I use the Gotland variety. There are possibly two, but I use the Gotland. I really like Gotland. I really like their Gotland. I really like their colorways. There are so many, and the price point is spectacular. Would I die on this hill? I think if I use the undyed one, it might be a yes, because it really is wonderful, and I would do an all-over color work anything in this and be really happy about it. But if it's this or phenol, I'd go for phenol. So I think this has got to be solid yes. Why? I don't know. Sometimes you just got an opinion and that's how it goes. And last but not least, we have Briggs & Little. I finally got some Briggs & Little, but this is Regal. And it's wonderful. And wow, the color is so crazy. The color shifts in the light. I can't explain how that happens. It is, what is it worsted weight? I think it's worsted weight. It's occasionally listed as DK, which doesn't make any sense. And I'm knitting it at like 14 stitches over 4 inches, so that's definitely worsted weight, a loosely drapey worsted weight. Yeah, it's really, really nice. The color I have is really beautiful. The light, I've also seen a couple of the other colors in person. The light taupe, or light brown, almost has like a pink, like it's hewing onto pink, but not quite. It's kind of breathtaking too. There's something about this yarn. And for me, a sweater's quantity shipped costs $38, so you can't argue with that. Would I die on this hill? I think I would die on the Briggs & Little Sport Hill. I think Regal gets a solid yes. And that's what I got. I feel lucky that I haven't used that many yarns that are terrible. Although I had a Jaeger spun superwash that it felt like the superwash treat had gone bad, and it felt like it was actually made of plastic. It was the most unpleasant thing. I forgot about that. I'm still trying to get rid of that yarn. It's very weird, and it still bothers me, and it's probably why I have a problem with Jaeger spun, so that might not be fair. But for the most part, research, man. Do your research, even when you can't feel stuff. Find someone whose fiber tastes you like, because that's how I got to a lot of these. That and, you know, having a thing for Irish yarns, apparently. Right. Hope that helps in your gift-giving season. Thanks for watching. I'll see you later.